Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I will go straight to the panelist session with the first question. I shall be asking one question each to the panelists here, and then after that, I will open it to the floor so that we have a more interesting discussion this afternoon. So my first question is to Dr. Kelvin. Can you pose a question? The first question that I'd like to ask Dr. Kelvin is, as an MP from Sarawak, you joined and spoke at the Palestinian Solidarity gathering in KL recently. There was no such gathering for the current Russia invasion of Ukraine, the 1975 Indonesia invasion of East Timor, the 1990 Iraq invasion of Kuwait, and the subsequent response invasion by 42 countries on Iraq, the 2017 invasion of Gambia by 3 countries, invasion of Georgia, invasion of Somalia, Libya, and the list goes on. All the invasions around the world. And these countries' internal problems have nothing to do with us, while we have our own set of very difficult problems. How do you think your action could help Sarawakians to achieve their dreams and visions in many aspects?
I regret coming. Thank you so much, Mr. Goh, and of course, thank you so much to my fellow honored panelists and of course, fellow Sarawakians and Sabahans. Welcome to Kuching and welcome to the constituency of Bandar Kuching. The whole museum here is in Bandar Kuching. It's the best place in the world. We are in the better side of Malaysia. To answer to your question, okay, let me give you a context and background on why I was there and also to share my belief and how this affects us as not just Sarawakians but as humanity as a whole. As you all know, I'm the youth chief of not just my party, DAP, but also the youth chief of Pakatan Harapan. So as the head of a youth chief, there are certain responsibilities, and we were asked to attend certain events, especially to represent the government's stand on matters. When I was informed that I was to come for this Palestinian solidarity, not to say rally, maybe a gathering at Masjid Negara in Kuala Lumpur, to be very honest with you and to be very honest with the public, I had a lot of dilemmas in my heart. Okay, number one, it is not because I do not support the Palestinian cause. I understand it is a humanitarian crisis, genocide is going on, and we want to promote peace and stand for the discriminated and also the oppressed, regardless of our nationality, regardless of our demographics. The issue that I was struggling with is, number one, I come from Kuching. If I attend there, and if I speak what I want to speak in Masjid Negara, at the steps of Masjid Negara, I will probably get stoned there. But if I speak to the tone of what they want me to speak, I will come back to Kuching and I will probably lose the elections. But at the end of the day, I actually had an internal reflection within myself. I went to see my mentor. I'm of the Christian faith, and one of my mentors is Pastor Daniel Ho, and so happened is in Kuala Lumpur. And I met him, and I said, Pastor, I have this internal dilemma. And this is, and put aside politics, but I have this internal dilemma. What should I do? So after listening advices to him and everything, my conviction is this. At the end of the day, the issues of Palestinians is not just an issue that we just ignore. It's not an issue between Christianity, Islam, or the Jewish state and Islam. We must put that aside. It is an issue of humanity. It's an issue of a whole population group being killed by the Israeli state. So there are Christian groups that condemn me after my speech. They say that you are a disgrace as a Christian. And I answered them, okay, this is my Christian faith. I said, what would Jesus do in this situation? Would he condone such violence? And my conviction, as I say, I'm not opposing any convictions on others, but my conviction is, I don't think this is the situation, this is the issues that Jesus, who I believe in, would condone to. And I attended and I spoke, and if you hear my full speech, don't just see the picture of me being there, but my speech was that the Palestinian issue is an issue that we have to care about regardless of our race, our religion. It's because we have to act as a human, we have to act as human, we have to believe in humanity that pushes for compassion, love, justice, and of course solidarity. And I spoke that at the steps of Masjid Negara. Why didn't I attend any other solidarity, Ukraine, Georgia, Somalia, Libya, and everything? Because if you organize one, please invite me and I will go. Why does this affect Sarawak? Because I believe that as Sarawakians, my dream and vision is for us to show leadership, to be role models, and to play a bigger influence in the whole of Malaysia. So I want to show there is a leadership with compassion. There is a leadership with integrity, love, and compassion. I don't care if I lose the election. The fact is, I was condemned by the Christian Committee when I came back. But I told them I am at peace with my decision. Because I did not condemn any faith.
Okay.
I didn't condemn anyone. But I think we want to show leadership as Sarawakians that there has a leadership of compassion, love. And I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question I'm going to pose is to Joe, Dr. Joe. Now, oh, you got two Dr. Joe here, yeah?
Yeah.
Joe Arriffin. Joe, yeah, certainly. Yeah. Okay, you were talking about social contract, you know. Some people think that a contract is actually between two parties, at least two parties. But when you talk about a social contract in Malaysia, it is actually a unilateral, so-called social contract, cooked up from the figment of imagination of some opportunists who believe the end justifies the means. And to many people, a social contract is nothing but human moral values. It doesn't have to be written. You're born with it. So, to many people, there is no such thing as social contract. It is just a term used by some opportunists to take advantage of the situation. Now, by having these social contracts, eventually it leads up to some strange affirmative action by the government. What do you think this affirmative action, how long do you think it should last? And how long should we continue to give the tongkat to those people who are benefiting from these affirmative actions?
Yeah, that's a good question because if you go further back, 1957, when this so-called social contract came about, actually in the Reid Commission, if you read, there was a time cap of about 15 years. Or some say 5 years, some say 15 years. So depending on what you read. But it's not supposed to be in perpetuity and forever. But this is what the Malay claim is forever. Malay land, okay? Malay rights is forever. So even the new economic policy, where they translated the social contract into something substantive, the new economic policy was supposed to end some 10 years ago, right? But has continued, okay, and has been extended. So what I see is the Malay is using the social contract, even though this NEP has already reached its time limit, but they still use a social contract. Say, hey, it's our inherent rights. We the people here, okay? We're the first people here. So that is something which I want to debunk, okay? Look, we have to move on. As I mentioned just now, Rafida has this profound statement. Hey, we're Malaysia now. We're not just Malay. I'm a Malay, all right? But I recognize that I'm a Muslim also. But I recognize we are from a different country altogether. That's why Professor Tajuddin was mentioning just now. We don't see that as what West Malaysians see. You come over here and try to disrupt our racial balance or welfare of the people or the happiness of the people, all right? So we need to counter that, okay? For us to go forward as a Borneo state peaceful, loving, and so on, and maintaining our current position and prosperity. But you worry, kan? I mean, last year you had the Christmas issue, carol issue. I mean, Sarawak is full of them. Thank God, less in Sabah. I mean, the Jill Islands case and so on. So these are just, to me, you cannot swipe that aside and say it's just one-off case. It's a continuous assumption by the Malay that you must follow us. Okay, don't overstep your position.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Okay, the next question I'd like to pose to Joanna. And these questions I'd like to ask you regarding your personal opinion on your general political philosophy, or for a component party forming a coalition government like in Malaysia, the Madani government, the Sarawak GPS government in Sabah as well. Now, as you know, coalition government, you have a number of parties, and there is also one dominant one. Like in Sarawak, you have PBB. In West Malaysia, federal government, you also have one. And what is your thought about the two schools of thought? Should a smaller component party not rock the boat and just follow what the dominant party say, and do? And the commander says, you do A, you do A, you do B, you do B. Or even at the expense of your very basic principle of serving the people. Now, the other school of thought is that you say no. Even though we are a smaller party, we want to have a say when it comes to how we serve the government. Yeah. So what is these are conflicting political philosophies. What is your thought about this? Johanna? Oh, yeah.
That's a very, very heavy question from you, Mr. Goh. But first of all, thank you very much to... Nanti kita tengok dulu. Thank you very much to SI and as well as Sabar for inviting me today. To be with everyone here. And I see everyone who has attended as well as the panelists here. I call them all otai. And I find myself here macam, aduh, orang baru ini. But whatever it is, thank you so much for also the SI and Sabar to also include the young people. Of course, everyone here is young at heart, but to also include the young, to also have their ideas to be heard of. And what I think about this, well, let's look at the political scenario that we have. Right, since 1963, the formation of Malaysia, not until 2018, we have only seen a change of government only up to 2018. And it's always been just one dominant party at that time, right? And when, I grew up, so I'm coming here from the context of Sabah, right? And when I grew up, I've always seen that there was only one party, right? From the day I understood what politics was, maybe at the young age of 5 years old, to see that there was election or not, I only understood that it was only timbangan at that time, right? Not until 2018, then that's where I started joining politics at the time. Then I realized that, hey, look here, is actually, and what actually, first maybe I can, give a little bit of story, like Tan Sri Benadompok also had his story before and just now, so I would like to share my story as well of why did I join politics at that time in 2016, 17, at a very young age of 26. So what I saw is that, we have been in this, one dominant party over the last, 50 odd years, that time, in fact, in Sabah as well. And in fact, I've only realized that only in 2008, right, when I was studying in Kuala Lumpur, and I saw the change from Barisan Nasional to Pakatan Rakyat at that time. And I realized, and I said, hey, look, we can actually make a difference. So when I saw that, but at that point of time, when I looked at the situation in Sabah, right, and I saw that, well, oh, okay, could this be a hope for Sabah? But it only come came in 2013. It started off in 2013 when you see that some areas were, Barisan Nasional at that time were they started to lose some seats. But then in 2018, that is where I thought that, look, this is a time where we should try and make a change. And that caused a bit of a problem, and had a bit of a tiff with my family saying that, why exactly are you going in politics at a very young age? But I said, you know what, if you're not going to do it, if the young people are not going to do it, and who is going to do it, right? So when I look at this situation, right, not until 2018 and all the way up to 2020 and then all the way now, we have never seen one dominant party anymore, right? And coming back to Sabah, I would also like to say this from the context of Sabah, right? Well, I can't say from Sarawak because you can see that GPS is quite a dominant party here, but in Sabah, we know for a fact that, GRS is also, from different components that forms GRS as an umbrella. And Sabah has faced numerous structural and historical issues that have contributed to Sabah's stagnation, right? And this includes, lack of infrastructure, economic management, and political instability. And the frequent changes in leadership actually and the party's allegiance result in inconsistent policies that we have, right? And the political instability also highlighted by all these from the 2020 election that we had in Sabah affects governments and long-term planning that we have. Now, ironically, right, coming from Sabah, I can view Sabah as more democratic than the other Malayan states, should I say, where we had a number of changes of government from USNO to Berjaya, PBS, and then Barisan Nasional, and then 2018 was Warisan Plus government, and then now is GRS. And to some of this, it can be viewed as instability, right? With several factions of vying executive powers, obviously. But I would also see this as a reflection of Sabahan's democracy that has progressed since the breakaway of the Barisan Nasional hegemony. Now, these challenges, right, may be detrimental to us, but I feel that it's also an opportunity for Sabah, right, as a people and a state to still explore and experiment its identity. So coming back to the question that you said that, is the political party in coalition should be preserved? Well, I have my ideas on this, and probably this is my own opinion. I feel that, there are arguments saying that, terlalu banyak parti, especially in Sabah, kami ni paling meriah. Paling banyak party politics. There are a lot more new party politics that have emerged over the last couple of months or so. But I would say that these political parties actually represent a diverse interest, all right? Smaller parties can actually often represent specific regional or ethnics and ideological groups, especially the marginalized. Yes, but of course someone will, there will be arguments saying that, hey, look, why don't we just, have just one particular dominant party for Sabah per se. But I feel that, this is also an accountability and check and balance, an independent approach for the smaller parties actually to act as a check on the dominant party, right? Ensuring it remains accountable and transparent. Now, this is how I look at it. And I feel that this can also prevent abuses of power of the dominant party and ensure governance remains fair and just. So that is my
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, next question I want to ask is to Ann Teo. Yep. Right. My question to Ann is this now. You have been involved actively in your NGO called the Rise of the Sarawak Efforts, ROSE, where you were involved in Bersih, as well as now actively pursuing a free and fair election and promoting public awareness in the upcoming Sarawak delimitation exercise. Do you believe the one person, one vote, one value principle should be applied to Sarawak when it has only 10% of the national population? And therefore, under the same principle, Sarawak should have only 22 seats instead of the 31 now that we have. Now, if you follow that principle strictly in Malaysia, we should get 22 instead of 31. Now, do you support the notion that the Borneo states ought to have 35% or at least more than 1/3 of the parliamentary seats in order to protect the interests of the Borneo states? Thanks.
Yeah. Good evening. Good afternoon. Thank you, first of all, to TSI and Sabah for the invitation. I'm glad to be here this afternoon together with all the panelists and the moderator. Thank you. Thank you for the question. On the point of one person, one vote, one value, I think it is a basic democratic principle, although it is not clearly stated in our federal constitution or on the Schedule 13, in Schedule 13 or anywhere. This principle is not clearly stated, but they use the word each constituency must have more or less equal pemilih ataupun number of voters. So each constituency within the unit of Sarawak. Actually, for delineation purposes in Malaysia, there are 3 units. One is, the first unit is State of Malaya, States of Malaya. Then we have Sarawak, which is a unit of its own, and then Sabah. If you remember, if you recall, 9 years ago, we had our delineation exercise. SPR conducted the delineation exercise for Sarawak, for unit Sarawak. So for one person, one vote, one value, of course, we uphold that principle. SPR is obligated, I feel, as a body that is called, the election, what do you call election, is Election Commission of Malaysia. They are obligated to uphold pursuant to the constitution, what is stated in the constitution. So other people use the term equalization, no? Equalization of voters in every constituency, with leeway given to rural constituencies, or rather, the word that they use is actually area weightage. Area weightage usually is because the area is large, the constituency is large, you are allowed to have lesser voters, lesser number of voters than the norm. The norm in Sarawak, for all those of you who are interested, is about 23,699 at the moment, following GE15 numbers. We have about 1.9 million voters, Sarawak on its own, divided by 82, that's how you get the median, okay? So, I think SPR should uphold that principle. And on the point of whether, because of that, since our voter population is actually outdated, because GE15 did not include Undi 18 and automatic. So now we will have a lot more voters now, including the young. Whether we should have lesser, is that your question? Lesser number of MPs. Right now we have 31 MPs in the day one, right? Yeah. Should we have lesser MPs because our voter population is so low? No, I don't agree to that. I don't think you can take away seats at this moment in time. We have 31, right? It wouldn't, if you take away seats, you're not going to tambah to West Malaysia, right? Yeah, so I mean, there has to be some sort of design and formula if we talk about the 30% or 33% for Sabah Sarawak. My personal feeling at this moment in time is that the 33% parliamentary seats for Sabah and Sarawak is a high-hanging fruit. It's not going to be realized in this parliament, maybe not even the next parliament. Reason because on the ground, we don't see any collaboration, any state discussion between Sabah State and Sarawak State. We don't hear of any, or not at least us common folks lah. So, and if you were to actually ask for the 33% seats for Sabah Sarawak, yeah, 33, is that right? Yeah, 1/3 lah. No, 1/3 seats in Dewan Rakyat. There has to be some form of formal, so-called, what do you call that? Government G to G, G to G, state to state G, some sort of negotiation to my mind. And you, how to say, you can't take away seats from states of Malaya too. You can't. You know, the only way is to increase the number of Dewan Rakyat members before anything happens. Yeah. So that's my call.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ann. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to open it to the floor for discussion. And get the mic ready. I can take in as many questions as possible for the afternoon. Hang on. Give me a name. Just wait for the mic. Adrian, can you put the graphics back, please?
I don't need a mic. I think everybody can hear me.
No, I can't hear you properly.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah, I can't.
All right. Good evening. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jared Yong. I'm from Sarawak. And, throughout the panel, I've been waiting for someone to talk about the dreams and visions of the people of the Bornean states, with particular curiosity about the dreams and visions of the people of Sabah, because I'm from Sarawak. And of course, the representatives from Sarawak may share what they think from their experience on the ground in social work, in the political work that they're doing. What are the dreams and visions of our Sarawakian and Sabahan people?
Any more questions? Was that a question, right? Okay. Later on, I'll get a panelist to answer back. The guy with the red shirt over there.
Good afternoon. My name is Alim. We started the 72 Sarawak Independence Day walk in 2013. We believe that Sarawak, Sabah, Negara Sarawak, Negara Sabah, and Negara Malaya should go separate ways. Regarding the seats, Sarawak should have 30. It should be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Malaya 1/3, Negara Sabah 1/3, Sarawak 1/3. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I just ask? There's a guy that I know, Dominic Ng. Yeah. Could you pass the mic to Dominic Ng, please? Oh, yeah. Edmund, is it? Edmund, you want to speak? Can you let? Okay, Edmund, let Dom have a go first. I'll come back to you.
Both, is it?
Well, you can make a comment. I will allow you to make some comment, Dominic.
Okay, thank you.
And also, you can pose some questions as well. Yeah, if you like.
Actually, I'm from the same movement that the last gentleman, Mr. Alim, was, which is the 722 movement. I am the president of SAPA, and just a couple of days ago, we were the people who raised the old Sarawak flag at the Central Padang, which is just a few steps away, to commemorate Sarawak's Independence Day. And of course, our Dato Sri Panglima, Dr. Jeffrey Kittingan, was our invited guest at the 722 dinner the night before. So, as a youngster, well, I'm still young and an idealist, I do have a vision for the peoples of Sarawak. And that vision is something that is based upon historical and legal perspective. For the information of those who are here who may not know about our history, Sarawak was independent and sovereign for 100 years, from 1841 to 1941. So the term independent and sovereign is something that was Sarawak for 100 years. So my vision for Sarawakians, I'm sure Sabahans will share, is that we ought to be independent and sovereign again within a term, the super federation, as YB Wilfred Yap used this morning, or a confederation of Malaysia. Similarly for Sabah too. So that is the vision that we have for Sarawak, and we share that with Sabahans, that we are independent and sovereign, but within a confederation of Malaysia. And what can be achieved with such a vision? Just now, Datuk Sri J.C. Fong revealed to us, Sarawak is actually well on the way to a developed state. And he told us, within about 10 years, Sarawak will be getting income of 60 billion ringgit. 60 billion ringgit. That is a phenomenal figure. And what with that sum can't we do for our youth, our Sarawakians' future? And that is something that I'm trying to share with our youth here. Okay. Now, just now, our Datuk Amar, Michael Manin, shared his vision of the education system of Sarawak. He was the education minister for about 5 years recently. And his vision is for Sarawakians to get the best education, and education that will propel them into the future, instead of us gotten stuck in the problems that we're now facing with the Malaysian education system. So what we are talking about, the future of Sarawak, and for that matter, that of Sabah, is one there is hope for the future generation of Sarawak, where there is a bright future for our Sarawakians. And that is what we're trying to share with our symposium here. Okay. The question I want to ask, especially for our YB Kelvin Yii, being a fellow Pakatan Rakyat Member of Parliament, Pakatan Harapan Member of Parliament in Sarawak, what can we do, being in the federal unity government, to bring about such a vision and for it to be realized for Sarawakians and Sabahans? First of all, does Dr. YB Kelvin Yii share this vision that I have for Sarawak and Sabah? Thank you.
Thanks, Dominic. All right, I think I'll leave it to the panelists to get the feedback on this one. So perhaps, first of all, I invite Dr. Kelvin to... Oh, Edmund, you want to have a go now? You want to ask a question? Sure. Go ahead. Sorry, forgot about you. Yes. Okay, all right.
I always believe, good afternoon, and Edmund. I always believe, never give up. Your chance will come. So I believe I deserve a round of applause from very supportive crowd of people, like-minded people. I'm not going to give a lecture. I'm just giving a summary of what happened and what transpired this morning. Fantastic people, fantastic speakers. It's not an occasion where we find so many people. Nevertheless, allow me, my humble self to say something. I believe in any endeavors or anything we do, it's very important to do it right the first time and every time. And it's no different for Malaysia. Oh my God. I had to decline. The Prime Minister is calling me. It's always very timely, you know. I have to. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is a lot of things have been spoken, a lot of things have been done, but basically, most of them are very good things, and yet most of them appear to be addressing the symptoms rather than the cause. And I think a lot of time we have to be honest and brutally honest if we want to resolve anything. And I think a lot of time we conveniently, whether it is for political correctness or because of our position, that we choose not to address the elephant in the room. And second thing, the language we use is very important. I hear a lot about MS63, and certainly today I hear negotiation. I think this word negotiation should be thrown out the window, you know, because MS63 is an obligation. The Prime Minister, okay. The other thing is, when we talk about racial harmony and all these things, excuse me, my sincere apologies. I have work friends who call me at wrong hours. Anyway, okay, right. The language of national unity. I believe Sarawak is a model state. And if we talk about Malaysia, Sarawak, they should adopt the Sarawak model because of two things. When we talk about tolerance, I hear a lot of this word tolerance. What is tolerance? The word for Malaysia is acceptance. The Malays accept the Chinese as we are. The Chinese accept the Malay as they are. We tolerate. Okay, and my question,
short, yeah.
Okay, I cut it short. Sorry. Thank you for your timely reminder. My question is, moving forward, we have to move forward. How do you think the dreams and vision of the people of the Borneo state can be used as a model or a launching pad to remind our brothers over at the other side that this is the way, the Malaysia that we want moving forward? Thank you very much.
Okay. Short question. All right.
Okay, after all of this session, all of us are talking about future for future generation. So when we look back during high school, majority all of us are going to Sekolah Kebangsaan, where we have Malay, Chinese, Dayak, and Indian. But when it comes to university, only the Malay and the Dayak can get in, but the Chinese and Indian, you cannot get in because you are Chinese and Indian. So I think, in my opinion, it's time for us to introduce a meritocracy system because of it's for future generation. Because of if we not introduce that system, it will come we will talk about it again and again for the future. Yeah.
What's your name again? Sorry, I didn't get your name.
Fatul.
Thank you. I need to stop for a little while. Let the panelists answer some question. Oh, young guy. Okay. Kelvin said allow you to speak. All right.
Okay, so it's a short question. Before that, I'm Melvin from SIN. And then this is my question lah. So regarding the dream and vision of the people of the Borneo states, so actually I want to ask, how does the boomer generation of Sarawak and Sabah will pass this struggle I mean the struggle lah, and also the about regarding the dream and vision of the people, like pass it to the younger generation. Like how do you guys intended to pass this baton to us? Yeah, that's it.
Okay, great. Hang on, I think I have too many questions. Probably by the time we finish, they'll forget what question has been asked. So maybe any one of you like to speak up? Anne, you want to do it?
Yeah. Last one first. How do we want to pass on the baton? Is that right? That's the question. Yeah, I sincerely, in my heart, I mean, this is also partly answering the question of Jared, who was asking about dreams and visions of what is, in the NGOs and the civil society movement and so on. I think the main thing that I want to stress to this evening is that I want to encourage all the young people here to participate. The key word, if you take nothing back, is to participate. You are the shaper of our future, you can shape Sarawak. So I see you as very important people. And if you have a strong interest in historical contexts and backgrounds and all that, but the key word here is again participation, because if you choose not to participate, then you choose to let others lead the way for you. Yeah. So I'm all about, thank you. I'm all about autonomy. Yes, I'm for autonomy, for state autonomy, but at the same time, hearing the number of billions that we are going to earn, number of billions that is going to end up in our state coffers, I worry for the sake of good governance. I worry about good governance, about strong institutions. How strong are our state institutions and federal institutions even to take care of this to manage, these resources that are coming in for the benefit of all of us. So, yeah, okay. So that's my other concern, which is about governance, about strong institutions. How do youth ensure strong institutions, right? Of course, the other thing is empower. One of the things that Rose has been championing is also on absentee voting, if you have read about us. So absentee voting is how do we empower Sabahans and Sarawakians, those who are studying and working in West Malaysia, in Peninsular Malaysia. Of course, we are advocating for a process, a reform in the process whereby you guys can vote, or your friends and relatives can vote where they are. It's like undi luar kawasan, macam itulah. So you get the right to vote 2 or 3 days in advance. Okay, SPR can easily design this kind of system to allow voting to take place in wherever you are, whichever state you are out of. You are Sarawakian, you are in Sabah, or you're in West Malaysia, you can vote at the necessary mega, polling center of some sort that allow you to, your votes to be counted towards the constituency in which you are from. So we've been advocating for that as well. So that will really empower our people. Yeah? Okay, I think that's it for me.
I would like to comment, or in fact, answer the question of Jared and as well as Melvin, just now, with regards to the dreams and visions of the Borneo states. And with all due respect, Dr. Johan, maybe I would like to take this opportunity and this platform to actually say this on behalf of the younger generation of Sabah. Now, Sabah as a people and as a state, right, we are still exploring, I feel that we are still exploring and experimenting its identity. As opposed to Sarawak, right, looking at the history, going back to the history, Sarawak has they've always said this thing, Sarawak first, right? And this is something that I feel that is something that the Sabahans, we have our own identity, but I feel that we are still searching for identity as a Sabahan, right? And people are always saying that there is a lack of vision for Sabah. And they're always saying that there's always these comments by saying that there's a lack of vision for these leaderships and whatnot. But this suggests the possibility that, a vision is only late in its arrival But as a young person, I'm very optimistic about Sabah because we still possess tremendous vitality and potential energy. I mean, as opposed to, you know, the new feudalism in West Malaysia, for example, right? We are tolerant, moderation, Sabah and Sarawak. So what I hope to see and what are my visions and dreams for Sabah and Sarawak, but I'm talking from the Sabah perspective. Number one, let's go back to MA63, right? And I hope that what we can do is integrating MA63 into the national framework, right, of Malaysian Federation, and it's essential for us for a cohesive and inclusive Malaysia. And this has to be, this is what I would like to see, right, in the future. Number two, I would like to see that everyone was talking about devolution of power, decentralization. And of course, this morning we heard about if you want to, you know, decentralize, no money, no talk, no money, no honey. Kan? So, but even if you are given this, right, what I hope that if you're given the power, the devolution of power, it has to be done, the autonomy has to be equal, also be with accountability, like what Madam Ann has mentioned just now. If you are given the power, you are given the autonomy, but if it's not done in an accountable manner, and I think that is something that will cause a problem. You bagi saja power, tapi kalau tak boleh buat, and it doesn't trickle down to the people on the ground, sama juga, right? Now, the third thing I would like to look at is that let us look at MA63 as an opportunity, an economic opportunity, right, to create employment opportunities for the young Sabahans and Sarawakians, right? MA63, I believe that it can create employment opportunities for young Sabahan, leveraging on their unique culture and natural strength. Now, this is the thing that we have here in Sabah and Sarawak. What we have is the strength, the diversity, and use that as a leverage for us to actually showcase and saying that, hey, look, you know, the diversity that we have here is the strength that we have, right? And if we want to make a vision, it has to be built in a sustainable vision, right? Integrating, as I mentioned just now, our strength is in our natural resources and our unique culture as Sabahans and Sarawakians. But we're still Malaysians. See, the thing is, kita tidak membenci apa ini Malaya and whatsoever. Saya ini berkahwin orang Malaya juga, right? No. But what we want, right? The reason why our forefathers have formed Malaysia, not joined Malaysia, but formed Malaysia together, was that, you know, we want us to be called Malaysians, yes, but we have to jaga kita punya own unique identity, right? So it has to be where a sustainable vision of Sabah and Sarawak should integrate the traditional knowledge with modern practice to ensure that there is inclusive growth, right? And the most important thing I feel, and this is something that I really would like to highlight.
Jo, can you sum up, please?
One more point, sir, right? Very important point. And I agree what Miss Ann has said just now, that fixing the inequalities that we have is that we need to have more young people participating in the political system. This is very important. And with that, you know, we can create a more dynamic, a more inclusive political landscape, and encouraging more of this Bornean participation. I believe that we can look and see and deal with all, rather than negotiation, problems and whatnot. We can look at it in a more pragmatic manner.
Thank you.
And
I
that's
need to
where
cut
we-
you off there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Jo, Samad, do you have anything to say? If not, you? Yeah?
Yeah, what shall I say? I'm by training a strategist. Okay, I look down the road, I study history, and I'm older than Joanna. So I see it from a different perspective. I understand where she's coming from, the young people especially. But for my generation, what do? Wake up every morning, look at our WhatsApp. Oh, this, our Tengku Rahman did this white guy did this, the colonists did this. Balik cerita MA63, the same thing. I'm tired of that, okay? So I'm trying to analyze what makes Malaysia tick, and I just shared with you just now the Malay equation in the system. Now, if you're not aware of it, then too bad, because that's what's happening now. That's what's encroaching our economy, okay? Tutup KK Mat, boycott this, boycott that. That's what's happening. You talk about MA63, but this is what's happening. I'm not saying we should ignore MA63. It's in good hands. The committee that has been formed has various, like this morning when Dr. Jeffrey listed up, not to my satisfaction. For MA63, I'm considering on revenue. I was from the industry. Yusuf here, from ex-Petronas. I think we all share the same view. We need the revenue to develop our state. So that's my focus actually, the 40% and the oil revenue. I myself, Johan Arriffin bin Abdul Samad, have filed a suit against the federal government on the continental shelf. Read the newspaper, front page, headlines. On September 16 last year, I filed it. My name is there. I got tired of talking, so I filed it when I was chairman of Sabah. And I think we are continuing the fight. Okay, my name is there.
Yeah, thanks, yeah.
So,
So good.
What I'm trying to say is that we keep talking about MA63, but what is it, right? You can read the Bible, the Quran or so, you still don't understand at the end of the day. You just believe in God, okay? So MA63, actually, if you look at it, berapa close on it, okay? Yeah. What? 11 ka? I can't remember. Yeah. But the rest are constitution. What constitution is that? It's the federal Malay constitution. All right? Young people must understand that. You are reading the Malay federal constitution, not Sabah and Sarawak constitution. Right? So this is where the problem lies. The federal constitution said Malay rights first. Islam is the religion, number one religion. Suma, Malay language. What's happening today? I'm highlighting this to you so that you are aware, so that you can counter them. Okay? You can have a good economy, and another Akmal will come along and will disrupt you. Okay? Be aware of that. So you have to learn to counter them, understand what's the dynamics in Malaysia today in order to counter all these people. Now, I'm not saying we should ignore other things, but I think the more we are aware about it, the better. Our good friend here from DAP. DAP, we share the same view. Malaysia, okay? Sorry, but that was, now they associate us with DAP. We are not DAP, but their dream is the same. Where everybody is equal. No? We respect each other. You read about the Malaysia concept. The meeting was held in Singapore, chaired by Lee Kuan Yew. 2 Sarawak parties attended. They were part of that. Okay? Sabah party is absent, I don't know why. So, but the spirit was there. So if my dream is, in simple terms, that we live peacefully, we respect one another, respect each other's religion, and so on, all right? And I don't want to detail my dreams into many, many things, because you can talk about the economy, you can talk about the climate.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm more concerned, I agree with that, okay? But MA63 is very boring to me.
All right, Dr. Joe, can I just cut you off and pass the...
I can take some of my time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying boring in a sense that I don't ignore it. I read it, okay? I I think I'm quite an expert in MS history. I read it, okay? But even though you're an expert, what do you do with it? How do you translate?
Okay, sorry. I need you to pass on to Dr. Kelvin.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Prime Minister calling.
Seems the Prime Minister have all your phone numbers. So you are in a better position to answer than me how to change this world. I think I don't want to go on the generics or rhetorics that I think a lot of us have heard. But at least for me, one of the main way forward on how we want to achieve a Malaysia or a Borneo that we want to see is by seeing greater leadership from the Sabah and Sarawak fraternity per se. I want to see Sarawak lead Malaysia. I want to see Sabah lead Malaysia. But in order for this not to be rhetoric, we as Sarawakians and Sabahan leaders must step up to the plate. We must show a way to Malaysia how this nation is supposed to be. And that is why it's always been my personal challenge that I do not just want to be a Sarawakian MP, but I want to be a national MP that has the capacity, competency, integrity, and ability to speak on issues that affect us all, and to show the way that, hey, this guy ada substance. It's not because, ini kota Sarawak, kita bagi dia chance. That is one of the reasons why I fought and I pushed to be even a national youth chief for Pakatan Harapan. I want them to show that Sarawakians can lead even on a national level. And if we want to see the dreams and aspiration, the Borneo social contract, all these things that we want to talk about in Malaysia, the leaders needs to rise up. We cannot demand to speak just because of who we are as an quota, but because of what we say carries weight and gravity. Because a lot of West Malaysians yes, they look down on us. I cannot deny it. But let us be introspective. Do we give them a reason to be looked down upon? And this is my challenge to myself, always. Be that example, and if we want to bring that Borneo dream to Malaysia, we as leaders need to rise up. We need to have integrity. Sarawak or Sabah needs to have institutional integrity and change and accountability, even in Sabah and Sarawak. When we have resources, we're talking about, Mr. Dominic has spoken of resources. I want all that. I want the inequalities in Sarawak to be abolished. Let's not be in denial. That is inequalities in Sarawak. The rich are rich, the poor are poor. In order for that to be reduced, we need good leadership to instill institutions. Prof. James said a pet more boleh. Another pet more will be here. And can we deny that there are similar pet mores even in current institutions? So that is why administration institution is so important, and we need leaders to rise up. And that is my challenge for young people. Fatu, was it? And Melvin. Why I fought for you guys to speak is because young people, we are not just leaders of the future. We are leaders of today. And in order for us to be good leaders of today, make sure you be the best versions of yourself. So that West Malaysians do not look down on us, but they see, hey, this guy, he can lead Malaysia. And that is where my dream and aspiration is. I want to show a good role model I have a son, 2 years old. I want to be a good role model to him. That say, Papa can lead Malaysia. Not because, oh ya, kita nak bagi peluang kepada Sabah Sarawak. It's because, this guy boleh tahan. And that is what my aspiration is. So that more leaders from Sabah and Sarawak, people like Joanna, people like Kenneth, Edmund, never too late, to rise up, show our integrity, show our competency, show our abilities to lead Malaysia. And with that, I hope my vision is for Sarawak one day to lead Malaysia. Thank you.
Okay. I can take some more comments, short comments. All right, the guy at the back there. Microphone for him.
Hello? Okay. My name is Andrew Paul. I'm from Sadia. Okay, I just want, actually my interest is education, but I highlight it here in our dream. So the whole day, all the MA 63 federal issue is another issue for us, mainly the social NGO for indigenous people. So our dream is, after all our land were taken, our adat were killed, is education. Yeah. But if we listen to the presentation in the morning, Jesse Fong mentioned that he tried to find a way within the law. But if we see the education presentation, it's all stuck with the federation issue, MA 63 issue. Now, if we look at the statistics shared in the morning, we can see clearly the rural area, the result is far worse than urban. And we see for Sarawak. But for Sabah, we see it's better. Why nobody analyze this? Right? I know education is a very big field. There's a lot of opportunity for improvement. And also there's a lot for opportunity to create excuses. It's subject to argument, but the statistics show Sabah can do it. Why? Nobody analyze it. So our dream, as I say, after our land was taken, is education. So I wish the education work harder. Thank you.
Thanks. Yusuf, can I get a mic to Yusuf?
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Yusuf Abdul Rahman. Okay. It's interesting to note that most of the people here still have some hope for Malaysia. Personally, I don't. I've lived in Malaya for the last 40 plus years, and I've seen the mentality of the Malaysians, or the Malayans rather. The reason we are still looking into negotiation of a 60-year-old treaty, I think says it all. There should be no negotiations at all. It's just a question of implementation. But this implementation has never taken place for one simple reason. There has never been any good faith. Number one, in the formation of Malaysia in the first place. Number two, in the implementation of MA 63. Which is why today, more than 60 years after the fact, we are still discussing it. And I think we are all tired of it. I am anyway, like Dr. Joe. Why should we still be discussing MA 63? I find it very strange. So, as far as I'm concerned, well, I think either a real wanted formula must be found and implemented, or not at all. In other words, Sarawak and Sabah should opt for independence. Thank you.
Okay. Young man at the back there. Oh, Fabian also want to speak. Russell? Oh, okay. Hang on, Russell. I'll do that guy for the back first. Edward, is it?
Chris Edward, yeah. Hello. Good afternoon. I'm Chris. I'm a software engineer, also one of the TSI aspiring leaders. So I have a question. I think it's open to any of the panelists. we are the younger generations. I'm in my 20s, by the way. Eventually, the whole day, one of the things that I listen to is that no money, no talk. Yeah. So in like 10 or 20 years, it's expected that we would, Sarawak specifically, would like generate revenue of around almost like 10 billion. So that is a positive thing to our economy. So around 10 or 20 years, probably, you know, the Prime Minister cannot call us anymore. And also, you know, maybe some of our very experienced and senior politicians, leaders, you know, probably the Lord have called them or probably has gone back to paradise. So my question to you is, to the panelists like this, we as the younger generations, eventually we have to deal with the problems that you did not manage to solve during your time. So I want to ask these questions to you guys. What are some of the problems that we would have to face in our generations when we are leading the new Malaysia or the new Sabah and Sarawak? Thank you.
Okay. Martha, can you pass the mic to here, down, here, this way. Yep. This guy, what's your name? Fabian first. Let Fabian do it first. Yeah.
Fabian Wong from Kuching, Sarawak, ex-army. I'm an army veteran. Now, my question is, why did PMX directed or told his deputy Prime Minister to handle MA63, and he agreed to more or less hand over whatever need to be belong to Sarawak and Sabah to Sarawak and Sabah. Now, all he need to do was to tell his minister concerned of the various ministry like health and education and their general secretary to hand over and not ask the deputy premier or prime minister to talk to Sarawak and Sabah or negotiate, whatever you call it, and how to do it. So just give instruction to his minister and the ministry concerned to hand over within 6 months. And that can be done. If handing over take more than 6 months, then something is very wrong.
Okay, thank you. Martha, can you pass the mic to the gentleman behind?
I'm Mail Tanjong. I just want to ask a simple question. You said, I think Datuk Dr. Johan was talking about social contracts. It looked like this social contract is being used as a tool by the majority or the privilege to undermine the minorities. Can that be the challenge in court?
Okay, can you pass the mic in front to Russell? Here, Martha, over here.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Russell Lim. Good afternoon. My question is that insofar as Sabah and Sarawak's fight to achieve or to realize the dreams and vision of the Borneo state, and that includes, of course, our demand for our rights under the Malaysia Agreement 63, as well as what Doctor has said about the Borneo social contract. This would inevitably lead to the dissatisfaction of our West Malaysian counterparts. So moving forward, how do we play this balancing game?
Okay. Any of the panelists want to answer to Russell's question?
I would like to perhaps first answer to the gentleman there behind about, youth. Was it youth? How can we get the youth to be involved? Problems that we might deal with should we go into this. Right. First and foremost, I think I'll try to make this very brief. Yeah, I know time is of it's constrained. Okay. So what I feel right now, we're looking at the youth perspective, right? It is very important, first, as I've always advocated in the whole session before, that we need to have more young people to be in the political institution. But it has to go hand in hand. Not only the young people have to join politics, but the political parties also have to play their role in order to get young people to join political institutions. It has to go hand in hand, right? So as much as we want to, do something and try to make, there are barriers. I fully understand. As a young generation, I fully understand that there are barriers for us to also be in a system, right? So that is one. But then again, we have seen right now, because of this barriers that we are facing, there has been a paradigm shift in terms of political participation, where a lot of the young people nowadays, they don't go towards the traditional way of joining political parties, but they would rather go to NGOs to actually voice out, right? So what I see right now and how I would like to address this issue is that, first and foremost, I think here what we need to have is that, political parties must connect with youth first, and also they must have an agenda to actually start normalizing, right, the participation of young people in politics, right? And the thing is, right now, I feel, and as a young generation, a lot of this party politics, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you still need party politics. You go through an election, you win an election, you get the mandate, and then you go to parliament and fight for your, you be the wakil rakyat and do what is best. I mean, do what needs to be done. And in our case, we're talking about, our rights in MA 63, right? So, but then what I could see here is that first and foremost, we need to start normalizing having young people into the system. Start normalizing. Challenges are there, yes. And I have a little bit of also a comment about negotiation, right? Negotiations after negotiation. And I fully agree with what one of the gentlemen have said just now, that, negotiation is every single government, in federal government, I think, you see, the thing is, in Dusun, what we call is, they just have this, how do you deal with these grouses of the Sabahans and Sarawakians when they talk about their rights being infringed or we need to fight our rights? Kita buat jawatan kuasa, committees, negotiation after negotiation, right? Maybe Dr. Kelvin, you're a medical doctor here. It is just seen as a Panadol, tahan sakit saja. Tetapi not like antibiotic to actually deal with the issue. Negotiation. Yes, we have seen notable progress. Recently, Bintulu Port has gone back to Sarawak, and other things as well, for Sabah, energy and whatnot. But I feel that we need to go beyond this. Again, I agree with what Dr. Kelvin has said just now, that we need to say, we the young people, we need to move forward. We need to move forward, and we need to show that, and we need to have a concerted effort together, especially these young people, to say that, hey, look, we have to sit down together. And, the issue about MA 63 is not only for one party during politics, during election, but it is something that we as Sabahans and Sarawakians, especially the young people, we have to sit down, and we please do not disregard with all of the seniors that we have, because mereka dulu makan garam dari kita.
All right, John,
right?
Thank you very much.
So yes, last one.
Reserve your comment for your campaign later on. Yeah. I think you can do a campaign later on, but now I'm just going to ask.
I want to have more young people to join us, that's
I know.
all.
I make a point very clear. Let me move on to Dr. Kelvin. I think he has a point to make with, we refer to Russell's question just now. Yeah.
I think Russell gave a very important question in terms of how do we balance out so-called feelings of these different groups, especially when it comes to negotiations. I know it's like a bad word here, but the reality is a lot of things needs to go through some level of negotiations. Okay, MSc3 aside, but how do we push our rights? And that is why at the beginning I said one of my biggest aspirations is for more Borneo leaders to rise up. Because when you see you have more like-minded leaders, especially on a national level, even Malaya leaders who has the like-mindedness, who see things in our way, that's how we get to push our agenda across. In order for us to convince them, we need to influence them. And the best way to influence them is through, for me, role model, through, examples and everything. So that is where I think we need to rise up. A lot of the issues that's happening in Malaysia, I really wish more Borneo leaders spoke up. The recent issue of academic donations to schools by companies related to certain beverage or whatever, for me, Borneo leaders could have actually stood up stronger and showed the way. The reality is a lot of Malayan leaders were the one that stood up and spoke, even in cabinet. So that is where I said, we leaders, everything rise and fall leadership. So I want more leaders from Borneo to rise up and take hold, even on a national policy. On a gentleman that say they have given up hope on Malaysia, the reason why we young people still have hope, because our motto in Sarawak is Dum Spiro Spero. As I live, I will hope. Thank you.
Okay. I think that we're running out of time. I think we just wrap it out here. I'm sure you still have a lot of things to talk about. Next time we'll try to organize some more sessions. Okay. Dr. Ida?
Yeah.
Over to you.